us on a Tuesday night from First Amendment Sports Podcast Studios in Kensington, Maryland. I'm Ken Marangolo, welcoming you to the WCAC Spectacular. We are excited to have a very special guest on with us tonight. Friend of the show, has not been on the show yet, but he brings one hell of a Skype game. First, I want to say hi to my main man, Kevin Ricca, Pride of St. John's. How you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm excited, man. All this social distancing. It's Tuesday. I get to hang out with two of my boys. I feel like, I'm getting something done socially tonight.
And making Tuesday special for us, Coach David Bell, head varsity basketball coach for Elizabeth Seton High School. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be on this show. I've watched it plenty of times before. It's the best show in the area, if not the country. And I'm excited to be on, man. It's just an honor to be asked on the show. So thank you very much for having me on.
Well, thanks first of all for that amazing background. I know that it's important for us. So as you know, and we appreciate you, Coach. Obviously, we've seen you in person around the league for the last few years, and so we know how you feel about this league in particular, this high school conference. And for me, it's like a two birds with one stone. We get to have an awesome guy on the show, and we get our first chance to have someone talk to us from Elizabeth Seton High School. It's like in the NHL, like the original six. You talk about the old school teams that make up high school sports conferences. You just can't tell the story of the WCAC without Elizabeth Seton.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, when the league got started. On the girls' side, Elizabeth Seton in the 90s, just as St. John's was coming up, Elizabeth Seton was a powerhouse program, and it was in the early 2000s as well. And I'm just really excited to be here. The school has a ton of history, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Well, I can tell you, we were excited to cover the Road Runners in the end of the fall season. We got to see them out there at Catholic University representing, like you said, one of those original all-time great schools. And just hearing your name when people talk about it, of course, seeing you out there, we've been told nobody runs a WCAC concession operation like this man and his team. And if no one appreciates a first-class concession operation like Kevin Ricca, Tim Strachan, and myself. So I got to tip my hat to that as well.
Yeah, the football situation was great for us. I mean, having it at Catholic was great in itself, but to be able to make sure we had a bunch of happy fans there, make sure they had what they needed from a food standpoint was great. It was great.
Well, let's talk about the Roadrunners, man. First of all, congratulations belatedly. I know you taking over that program was a big deal to everyone who knows you and who knows what you're capable of, and certainly seeing you in the number one chair there is fun. So how's it been? How's it been going? Give us an update on the program and let us know what's going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a great. It was just really exciting to take the job. The year that I came in, they had just come off a really successful year. The 2016-17 season, I think they had 7 or 8 seniors, and they did really well. And when I took the job, that was honestly was somewhat enticing and exciting for me to take it because I really wanted to build this program. I knew it was going to be tough the next year after losing all those seniors, but I wanted to take on that adversity and really try to build this program back to where I know it should be. And I honestly think it's one of the best programs in the league from a historical standpoint, and it should be every year.
I thought I saw my man Kevin Ricka getting ready to jump in there. I didn't
Oh,
want to
I've
step
been
on
ready
any
to
toes.
jump. I've been ready to pounce. You're
Jump,
my guy,
man,
man.
jump.
I'm trying to play team ball over here. You know, I'm trying to get you a couple of assists, Marangolo. So look, this is my guy, man. You know, I've been fortunate enough to be friends with Dave quite a while. Watch him go through his progression as a young upstart coach in the league back in 2009, and watch him just pave through. And everyone around him, we all knew that Dave was headed for great things in this conference, and we're very proud of him as to where he's gotten. You know, he's a great family friend of ours. Dave and I got to know each other around town a little bit over the years, and it's always been a great conversation. It's always about sports. It's usually about ball, and I really enjoy as a guy that's coaching his little guys right now. You know, talking to Dave about this program. You know, the family atmosphere that he's talked about from day one. I mean, listen, Dave. Here's the deal. My daughter, my wife and I coach my son and daughter. They're 10 and 7. It's not the WCAC. And one of the first things I wanted to talk about after you talked a little bit about the program was the assistant coach, Mrs. Courtney Bell. You know, that's an interesting dynamic, and especially during these quarantine days, I'd like you to go ahead and drop some knowledge on us.
Yeah, so you know, Courtney and I met coaching. And we both played at the college level, so you know we're very passionate about the game of basketball, and basketball has also given us a lot in life. I mean, it's given us each other, it's given us our kids. It's a lot of surrounded by my full-time job. So we actually started coaching together back when I was the head JV coach at St. John's, and we were just dating at the time. But she was my assistant coach, and listen, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there were times on the bench when the players were like, "Uh-oh, watch out!" You know, we would argue calls, but at the end of the day, Courtney is a phenomenal coach, and she understands me and how I coach better than anybody, and she knows what I want, what I need, and she's just a great coach. I think a lot of people might not know how good of a coach she is. I know how great of a coach she is. I'm just lucky she's on our bench, but you know, when I'm transitioned over to Seton, she had stepped away from coaching for a few years because of our kids and wanted to make sure we were able to take care of our kids. But at the end of the day, she would be behind the bench actually coaching with the kids. Like, I'd be coming down the sideline and I might be looking at something and she's like, don't do that. You got to do this. And I tell her, you got to stop. And she's like, you got to do this. And so she ended up coaching so much from behind the scenes that I was like, look, you just got to come on staff. You got to come back. You know, we need you on the sidelines. And so this past season was the first year she was back on the bench. And, you know, the dynamic that is with her is, you know, she's the dean of students at St. John's. And so obviously that made things tough. But, you know, St. John's is such a great school, and they were so great with her that they allowed her to coach with us. And she's just a great addition to the staff. She's a great coach. And, you know, we have our battles, but we make sure that we don't take it home with us and where the kids have to feel, you know, what we're dealing with on the basketball side.
Wow, man. There's applause coming from the background of my house. But it's true, man. Listen, when a family is like that and a tight-knit unit, she was going to be a part of this staff one way or another, whether she had the title or not, apparently. Right. And I love that answer. I love the way you guys get it done. I love seeing you guys at the lovely Gracie Williams and Matt's wedding. That night, you guys had taken McNamara to double overtime. Yes. And you're right, Dave. You did not carry it with you. You guys went to an awesome young lady's wedding that we both love very much. And you mentioned it to me one time in passing, and the rest of the time we just had a good old time. That's the way to do it, man. Keep it between the lines. I love that answer, man. That's fantastic.
That's right. Yeah, no, that day was a whirlwind in itself, to be honest. Just you're talking about a Bishop McNamara team that was one of the best in the country, going into play at their house, and great atmosphere, great game. You know, we didn't come out on the winning end, but it was a great game for us to be a part of. We got better. And yeah, I mean, the rest of the night was to celebrate Gracie and her wedding. And we talked about that on the ride. We can't bring this inside. We gotta celebrate Gracie and her wedding and have a great night. And we made sure we did that.
Well, the game plan was followed up on well, sir. That was awesome. We all had a good time. And listen, you've been on the winning side many a time, my friend. At St. John's as the JV coach, some people don't realize that, you know, a lot of people do, but some of the Seton people that might not have known Dave as long, he was 70-21 as the girls' JV coach. He was the assistant head coach under John Scribner for the 2 seasons that St. John's wound up number 3 in the nation. So if anyone understands coming out on the right side of the win-loss column, he's got that red background right behind him right there. So talk to me a little bit about this year, Dave. I know you're sad to see your seniors go, but I look down at your roster. I see an Abby Cater, a Regina Walton, and a Hannah DeRaje. The future is bright, my man.
Yeah, listen. Our this past season was a program turning season from the time that I've been here. My first year we were 14-15. Last season we were 15-16, and this past season, the 1920 season, we were 20-10. And we took some hits the first couple of years, but this season we really turned it around, and we played a tough national schedule this year. And I want to make sure, the only way to get ready for WCAC league play is to play a very tough non-league schedule, and we did that this year. And to my knowledge, I think we only played one or two home games before January, so we were on the road for mostly every one of our games, which again I wanted to do just for us to deal with the adversity of not playing at home. And listen, we were 9-2 after December. And we actually won the Nike TOC out in Phoenix, which is typically known as the best girls high school basketball tournament in the country. Now, we didn't play in the very top bracket, which is usually all top 25 teams. We played in the second highest bracket. But listen, we beat a Windward team that is head coached by Vanessa Nygaard, who is one of the best female basketball players of all time and a legendary coach. And we took a lot away from winning in Phoenix. And I definitely think that defined our season and how tough this team was. We were anchored by 4 seniors, Tyler Gray, Karina Ming, Ava Robinson, and Randy Baldwin. And those 4 seniors are going to forever be remembered for really turning the culture around in this program, while they were here. And they really bought into what I was selling and coaching. And so I'm proud of that group. And they really set the tone for all the classes to come after them. We're just really excited. Now, as far as it goes with Abby and Regina and Hannah, Abby she's tough as nails, man. I mean, she's a tough wing player who is, she's a highly recruited kid. But again, for me and for our program, you've seen the growth for her since her freshman year. She came in with me. She was one of the few recruits that I recruited in when I first got hired. And she's just been great. I love watching players just mature over the years, and she's been great. We're looking forward to a huge senior season for her. And Regina and Hannah were part of my very first official recruiting class. And Regina is our point guard. She's the player that all of our players look for. They look towards her leadership. She is a steady point guard, man. I love watching her play. I sometimes get caught up in watching her play instead of coaching her. She's that good. And, Hannah's a 6'3" center who, again, she's gotten better each year. We're looking for a huge year for her. I think this is going to be a huge breakout year for her. She's super smart in the classroom, and she works really hard on the court. She's so coachable, and she just wants to get better.
Very cool.
Well, talking about buying what you're selling, I'm looking down. I see we have quite the crowd. I know that it's, we got to get to Bladensburg first and foremost. Don't want to miss an opportunity to if the daughter's charity or feeling charitable tonight, make sure you hit that subscribe button. First Amendment Sports, it is free, and you get a chance to see all the action in the WCAC, including the games that we cover. Elizabeth Seton has been on our air before, the Roadrunners, and I want everyone from Seton to understand and know that even when they showed up, for that I believe it was a soccer championship in the fall, Dave. Yeah. The chatter was how awesome it was to see Seton in the championship game of a WCAC league, league title game. Everyone was just excited to see it. It was awesome. Because it reminds you that the school's been here since the late 50s. There's so much tradition that goes into Elizabeth Seton and the young women who've come through there. We all have great friends that we know who matriculated there few years ago, Dave, back in my days at McNamara in the early '90s, and Kevin's days at St. John's in the early '90s.
When you say matriculate, it makes it seem like the early 40s, my man.
Sure, that's true. That's fair, but it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago, and so definitely want to appreciate the Roadrunner audience tonight, and I don't want to kind of forget the fact that um, there's a lot of work that goes into community service wise that goes into what those young ladies do at Elizabeth Seton. Is such a big part of that program and a big part of their 4 years at Seton. And I know that in this current crisis or what we find ourselves in, being away from school, I still see the headlines coming through. Steve Colantoni still does fill me in on the various things that these schools are up to, and Elizabeth Seton is right up there with all the others that just make us proud when you hear about the things that they're doing in their community. And I know your players are part of that too, Coach.
Yeah, nowadays for high school, kids are required to do service hours in order to graduate, and I think that's great. When I was in high school, I wasn't a part of that, but I think it's great to require student athletes to understand their community, understand how things work. And listen, we've had our girls out in the community. We've done car washes as a program. We've done crab feasts. We've done a couple years ago we did a bag Christmas toys for the needy. We did that at the Prince George's County Police Complex. So our kids get a good idea of the fact that they should feel very fortunate for the things that they have in life and the opportunities that they get to not only play basketball, but just to be in school and to be a part of things they're doing. So we definitely take to heart community service and what these girls need to stand for when they're representing Elizabeth Seton.
Now, I'm not going to let you get out of here without asking you, when you get on the sidelines, you're sitting down there across the way from Johnny S over at SJC. What's the game plan like? When you're preparing for that one, because there's a lot of familiarity between amongst coaches there.
Yeah, listen, I think people need to understand the relationship that we have. Jonathan and I met a long time ago, all the way back in '99, 2000, and we actually used to do work together for a company called One on One. That's where I originally met him. And then when Jonathan split off and started Hooped, which is where I work now with him, I was in transition. So I was coaching. I was an assistant coach at Churchill High School in Potomac, Maryland, and the head coach that I was coaching under left. And so I was just out there looking for a job, whether it was going to be the head coaching job at Churchill or trying to get on another program. And when I spoke to Jonathan about it, he asked me to come on as the head freshman coach at St. John's, and then also a JV assistant and varsity assistant. And I said, I'm all in. I love the game so much that any opportunity I get to coach, I jumped on. Now, obviously, it was extra special because I had an opportunity to jump into the WCAC, which is the best high school league in the country. And so I was really excited to jump in. And I came in with Lindsay Allen her freshman year, and it was just a great ride. And our friendship is deep. I mean, Jonathan is one of the guys in my wedding, and so we have a special relationship. And look, it was tough to leave St. John's, but he understood that my aspirations to be a head coach in the league, and so he was great with that transition. Now, as far as it goes with coaching against him, Jonathan's a great coach. He's one of the best in the league, if not the best. And you have to, and he's got the best player in the country as well, which makes it, even tougher. But for me, Jonathan knows how hard I coach and how much I love the game. So I think he understands that when we coach against each other, it's going to be a battle. And, the first couple of years, the games weren't even close. I mean, he was blowing me out of the water, man. I mean, they were 20-point losses, 25, 30-point losses. But this year's team, again, just along with our building process, I mean, this was a really good team we had this year, and we were able to split with them. They beat us at our place, and we beat them at St. John's. Both of them were great games to be a part of. So, like I said, my relationship with Jonathan is great, and I think we love coaching against each other, and I think we both know what we're going to get when we play each other.
Oh, that's great.
That's great. That's another testament to the league. I love it. I love it how, hey, Joe Gallagher had Morgan Wooten hired as his assistant head coach at some point.
Right.
Everyone has to get that start somewhere and take advantage of the situation that this league presents. But what this league also presents, Dave, is 3 teams that are on your schedule twice a year that were in the top 10 in the country this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it is no joke, my man.
Yeah. I mean, listen, St. John's, Paul VI, and Bishop McNamara have been steady top 10 level teams the last, 5-7 years. And, like I said, for us, it's just, first of all, it's a pleasure just to be able to play those games every year. And again, it's just another testament that the WCAC is just hands down the best league in the country. There's not another league in the country that has 3 teams that are playing at that level year round every year. And, even though we split with St. John's and we lost both to PVI and MAC, if you watch the games, I mean, listen, we lost on a last-second buzzer beater to PVI at our place, 45-43, and we lost to BMAC at their place in OT. And the game, our senior night against MAC at home, we got excited too early. We were up big in the first half, and we squandered the lead to lose. But, we're competing, and that's what you're asking for when you play these games. Is we're competing at a high level, and we're trying to win. But they're great games to be a part of for sure.
Well, that's a fact, man, and there's no doubt that that 4th team is on the way, and everyone that knows you and knows your kids knows that that's coming.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We're competing. We're trying to compete with the best and trying to get better every day.
Well, I know you're making our show better this evening. That's the commentary on the board from some folks, Miss Candy and Mr. Tim Strack, and both agree that you make us look good. I just want to thank you for giving us some time during all this. You got something there, Dave?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Candy Cage for a minute. Candy to me is the best athletic director in the league. She's a lot of the reason I took the job. I mean, there's no better AD to work for than Candy. Obviously, for people that don't know who she is, I mean, she's a 17-year Division I college basketball coach. She knows the game as good as anybody. She's deep-rooted Seton. She went to school at Seton. She's the AD there now. Her dad was a great at DeMatha, one of the best, and in a well-known ref in the area. I learn and get better every day just from talking to Candy. So it's just a pleasure to be around her. And, she loves the school inside and out. She supports our student athletes. She supports the school, and she supports her coaches, man. So, Candy's the best.
Hey, Ken, let me jump in real quick. And
Yep.
Dave, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I was blown away 2 years ago in your first year in the league, reading an article after talking about you. You got the job, you took the job. And I read an article, and Candy Cage was quoted as saying she had you handpicked for quite some time. She went out and got what she wanted for the Seton program. She knew exactly what she wanted and who she wanted to lead this program back into prominence. And I'll tell you right now, that's way ahead of the game. That's big time from Mrs. Cage, and big time for you that you happen to be that guy. Good for you, Dave, and good for the school of Seton. I mean, this is a historical program, like Ken's talked about in this league. What a great place, and what a great guy at the helm. I love reading that an AD had handpicked someone a year or two in advance that they had an eye on to lead this program back into prominence. That's pretty important, my man.
Yeah, like I said, Candy is there's no one better. I mean, she's even when I was not when I was at St. John's, every time I had a chance to talk to Candy, she just was great to talk to. And I just always thought about, just the relationship with her and how great it was. And so when she did approach me about the job, honestly, it was easy. It was an easy decision to make once I decided to make that decision, just knowing I'll be working for her. She's great.
Awesome.
Coach Bell, we look forward to seeing you hopefully soon in action this fall. And we certainly want everyone at Seton to know how much we appreciate everything that's going on down there in Bladensburg. We look forward to covering the Roadrunners for years to come. That is something that we're excited about. And I'll tell you what, you set the bar high for the coaches coming on after you. You gotta. It just looks good. It looks sharp. It literally makes our show look better. Not that Benjamin here with the mask on isn't bringing things up here, but at the same time, Coach, thank you so much. Thanks for being on with us. We wish you the best of luck, and we certainly can't wait to see you in person.
Yeah, just real quick, you guys do a great job with this show. I've watched it time and time again. I watched you guys when you run the WCAC tournament at AU. You guys are the best, man. You guys are experienced. You know the game, the high school game better than anybody, whatever sport it is. Kevin and I go way back, and Ken, this has just been a great opportunity to be a part of this show. So I thank you guys so much for allowing me to be on here and just shed some light on the great school of Elizabeth Seton.
Awesome,
man. Dave Bell, you know what? These coaches keep coming on here and getting me all Roy Firestone emotional. But I'm going to tell you this. If you rewatch this show tonight, and I know what I'm going to take from it, Dave Bell's answer about what basketball has given to him, I wrote down and circled it about 15 times over here. You're talking about his wife, his children, his family, his day job, his program. I mean, Dave, like your young babies, I grew up. I was raised in the league. And my dad was AD and coach, and there's great things in front of those babies of yours with parents like you and Courtney and a place like Seton. And, hey, proud to call you a friend and so proud to have you on the show tonight, my man.
That means a lot, Kev. Like I said, I'm really a privilege to be on this show. And, I think about it a lot, man. I shed tears every now and then about what basketball has given to me in this life. So, again, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure.
As long as we're going to get in our feelings here, I got to say thank you to Lorraine and the old school McNamara. My mom was Lorraine, my dad was McNamara. I spent my childhood with my dad hauling me to every gym and field that he could take me to watch games, whether it be football or basketball. And as long as Lorraine was still in action in the mid and late 80s, having my mom make sure I didn't forget that there was a school over there in Suitland that was also putting out amazing WCAC young ladies. Of course, it was the Metro at the time, but right. The conference has given all of us so much, and if we just get to spend one Tuesday a week, hey, you know what? They add Tuesdays to the week, Dave. We're going to do more shows, but for the time being, we're going to do once a week. Make sure that everyone knows.
Anytime you guys ask me to come on, I'm on in a heartbeat, man.
Awesome.
I'm on in a heartbeat.
And here's the deal, Ken. I mean, listen, I know we had to do what we had to do here, but, Dave has been in some great debates over the years. Let me just get one last answer out of him.
All right. Go ahead.
Dave, everyone's been doing this. You understand all the lists and the challenges and the era comparison. Dave, I want your all-time, not your favorite five, your starting five by position in the NBA. Let's take it back to the old school. Where are we at?
Man, well, I'm gonna go with Magic Johnson at the 1.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Jordan at the 2.
Here we go.
I'm gonna go with Scottie Pipp at the 3. I'm gonna go with Tim Duncan at the 4.
Ooh.
And man, the 5 is the toughest one, man.
It's impossible.
This is why it's impossible. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, so I'd like to just say Patrick Ewing. But, look, you could go Kareem. You could go Bill. I mean, you could go Shaq. I mean, it's a tough one. As a Knicks fan, I got to say
Wilt.
Listen, and that's right, and Wilt. I mean, as a Knicks fan, I feel like I have to say Patrick Ewing.
I like it.
Like I said, I love all those other guys, man. It's a tough thing to do. That's my starting point.
I had to put you on the spot there quickly, Coach.
All good.
I could see his started rocking a little bit and looking from side to side, but he got it in. That's great. We're going to continue this debate, and you will be back on this show. We can't wait to have you back again. Coach David Bell, pride of Elizabeth Seton High School head girls basketball coach. He's Kevin Ricca.
Hey, it was a thrill to be on tonight. It's about time. We've been trying to get Dave on for a while. Thanks for joining us, my man. Had a ball with you.
Thank you guys very much, Ken, Kev. Thank you very much for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Until next week, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. Thanks, guys.